So I want to welcome you guys to our second info session with all of the participants from all of the pathways. It's really exciting to see our biomedical, our computing, our digital media, our engineers all come together, our middle school teachers, elementary, high school, really neat stuff. So today I have the honor of introducing somebody else besides myself to talk to you guys and to share some really cool stuff that's happening across the state. So today speaking with us is Summer Dan. Summer comes from a background in engineering where she worked in industry for over 10 years. She's been in education for quite a while now. She's worked both here at LSU in the College of Engineering, working primarily on working with the student workers and creating programs for the College of Engineering outreach. She's also was responsible for helping to start our CTEC Center here in East Baton Rouge Parish, which is our Career Technical and Education Center. So she's got experience in industry, experience at the college level, experience at the high school level, experience in Tufts University, experience in Tufts Tech. She really runs the full gamut of experience. And she's with us today as the head of the Regional STEM Center, the director of that, the Regional STEM Center for Region 2. This is a position that started by the Louisiana Board of Regents with the goal to increase access to STEM education, participation and advancement, and to help existing and developing STEM activities get to more places in the parish. So we're really excited to have Summer on board, both for the Regional 2 STEM Center Director, but also here in this meeting today. So I'm going to turn it over to Summer, where she'll share some really cool stuff with you guys.
Great. Thank you, Vanessa. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to crash y'all's training. This is really exciting to see so many people wanting to share STEM experiences. Vanessa did give you some of my background. I have worked with elementary and middle school as well, so I have done the full pre-K all the way up through, I guess what you would say, 16. I was also an associate director for a technical college, so I've kind of had a variety of STEM and education background. What I want to show you today, and I guess I can share my screen, right, Vanessa?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, hold on. Can everyone see that? It's a website that says LostSTEM.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. The LostSTEM was created by Act 392 in 2017, and basically it broke up the state of Louisiana into 9 different regions. So each one of you, I know y'all are around the state, and so you're going to have different directors. So I want to make sure that you know who your director is and how to find them, because they're going to have some local activities that you can have in your schools and in your programs. There are going to be some statewide ones as well, which I'll talk about in a second. But essentially, if you go to the Board of Regents and you go into the LostSTEM area, you're going to see the Act 392, and you can read about it and what all of our duties are. But also, if you move through this website, hold on one second, you're going to find, it'll show you the Regional STEM Network. It'll talk to you a little bit about what we're charged to do, which is increase STEM access and activities across the state. And then you'll see, here's Dr. Clint Coleman. This is one of our, who I report to, as well as Dr. Frank Newbrander here in the Kane Center. And then you'll see each one of them. So if you're in the New Orleans area, you would be seeing Daphne Barnes, or if you're in the capital area region, I'll show you what my region is, you would see me, and then you can see everyone that's here. You also see that not all of us are associated with universities. Some of us are with our 4-year universities. Some of us are with 2-year universities. GNO Inc. is a nonprofit. So you kind of get an idea of what these are. Okay. And then here's the regional map. So basically, I'm Region 2. Here's East Baton Rouge Parish, and then I have the C that goes around here, and you can see what each parish. So you should be able to figure out what region you're in to get access for that. if you're in my region, I want to show you just real quickly that we have a website. And on our website, we have an opportunity zone. And in this opportunity zone, you can start searching for different things, programs, if you want online, in person, different types of activities, different ages, and you can just kind of search that. We have a newsletter that anybody can sign up for that will give you an idea of things that are happening in our region and then across the state. Our region is in particular part of the STEM ecosystem, which is a national group. And so I typically bring in information or send people to go to the national STEM ecosystem. You can see upcoming events that we have in the area. And quite a few of the regions are working towards getting all their websites up and going with opportunity zones for everyone. So I want to make sure everybody has an idea of what you can see and what you can get through the capital area STEM network. Let me stop sharing. Okay. So one of the goals, and I'm relatively new, this is probably my 4th month in the region. And so the STEM Center itself is fairly new. It's had some turnover and some changes, and we're trying to get access to everyone. But one of the new things that has most recently happened, and I saw Dr. Marino on here, is that the STEM Center and the Kane Center will now partner with code.org. We're going to be their statewide partner. And so we're going to be working with the different STEM centers to bring in some other activities in computer science. So that would be interesting for people to find out about. And so they're on here and they're going to be setting up trainings to help with that as well. We don't necessarily deliver programming because it's just a couple of us here. We partner with the Kane Center to give what y'all are getting now, trainings and camps and activities. But if there's anything in particular that y'all would like to find out about or know about, I can be emailed at summerdan@lsu.edu. We're trying to come up with a vetting process for STEM activities. We don't want to have STEM activities that wouldn't be age appropriate, that wouldn't truly be a good STEM activity. So we're trying to figure out a vetting process for that. So if y'all I'm asking for help from y'all. If you have certain criteria that you're looking at for different opportunities, I'd love to hear about it. I'm sure the STEM centers would also like to hear about that. Trying to think what else I can talk to y'all about with our activities. Do you want to hear about activities? Do you want to hear about what you can do in your classrooms? Kind of put in the chat what you're interested in finding out about, or for questions. I know I kind of went fast, but I've got opportunity zones, we've got events, we've got things you can participate in. What are you interested in? Okay.
Chat says we got some chats coming in, Summer. So they said kind of both, field trip opportunities, classroom activities, guest speakers. I see the comment about grants. We're actually gonna have a separate dedicated session to grants, DJ. So hold tight on that one.
Okay.
Field trips, activities, materials and resources to rent. So
Okay,
we can talk about
we have that for sure.
Yeah.
So I do have in my region, and okay, so in region, in the southeastern region, that region over there, they have a van that you can borrow, and it's stocked with all kinds of STEM activities that can go around. Typically in that region, they'll come over to region 2 and some in New Orleans. They're not going up to the northern part of the state. I have in my office lots of robot kits and VEX things, and we have all kinds of stuff that can be rented and borrowed. So that's super easy. We have lots of materials that can be done.
Calcasieu is also, they're investing in some robots that you would be able to check out to either use in your classroom during the school year, use for summer camp. So I think all of the regional STEM centers are starting to purchase materials like drones or robots, kind of the things that would be expensive to purchase a whole classroom set right off the bat, that you will be able to check out. I believe most of them are free of charge, with the expectation that you would return them or pay the replacement costs.
Yes.
I don't think we have any 3D printers right now.
We do not, but I can put that on for next year's budget. That's an awesome idea. Let me write that. Let me write that down. There is a group. If you're in this area, there's well, actually, there are two different things. The library has maker spaces, and they do have 3D printers. Or getting sewing machines and a couple other things with the downtown library and then the main library. There's also a group on LSU's campus that has a maker space. So if you're in this area, we do have that. But getting 3D printers, and actually, I'm going to share that with the team. I'm seeing questions about computer science and computer science ed policy implementation. Okay, so that's really interesting. So the legislature, it's going to the governor's desk this week, put in to have computer science be an elective in high school instead of a foreign language class. And so that is the newest act that's going through, and we're curious to see if the governor is going to sign that. I think Dr. Marino is on. She might have a little bit more information on that. But computer science implementation, I think that's what's really exciting about code.org and that new partnership, is that they have elementary, middle school, and high school programming that's going to complement everything you're doing through the CS pathways right now. We have been talking with Brain Food Truck, if you're in region. Yes, that's Wendy's. We have been talking about implementing certifications into some of the pathways, and teachers could get trained on that. And then you could train your students with the certifications. There's some summer programs for computer science. It's called Jumpstart Summers through the school districts, and a lot of them will offer those certifications. Let's see.
So about the computer science policy, there are two that were approved by the House and the Senate, and both of them are going to be signed by the governor because many industries are behind that. So I think for sure the governor will sign. One of the new policy is to create a committee to decide on all those subjects. How to provide available and inexpensive training for teachers in computer science, how to create align the curriculums with the standards, what the standards to use, how to provide certification to teachers and students. This is one of the policies. So the committee will start meeting in this August, and a year later they will provide their suggestions. The second policy is that starting not this coming year, but the next one, so in a year, new freshmen in high school, students coming to 9th grade in 23-24, they can substitute 2 computing courses, but instead of taking 2 foreign language courses, they can take 2 computing courses and graduate with tops. So they will qualify to get the TOPS scholarship just by replacing the 2 foreign language courses by 2 computing courses. And the policy was quite open on what courses qualify. So it may change after the committee decide on standards.
I see also that Vanessa put Nephros. That's a great tool. We've been looking into different softwares that could be available to the teachers within the area for virtual internships and virtual speaking with different STEM individuals as well. I'm not sure that that's gone through the whole Law STEM network. There's some things that we are trying to do as individual centers. So each center will be choosing something that they're focusing on. I know in Calcasieu, they've been looking at the NASA program. For Region 2, we were focused on code.org. In the Louisiana Tech area, they're looking at cyber and working with Mark Cuban and the AI camp. So each region is trying to choose a particular STEM activity that we would focus on, and then we would help coordinate across the state. And then there are going to be some things that would go through the Board of Regents through the main Law STEM head. And so having access to different softwares where they could talk to individuals that's being discussed as going through the main board of regents. So right now, and I'm seeing a lot of things about wanting information. I put some links in there on our site, and then La STEM, which can give you resources in there for you as well to use.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody that we are posting the recordings of this in the Mila note. And so all of the links and the resources that we're putting in the chat, we'll try to summarize those into a single document, and we will include them right here. If you guys can see my screen, hopefully you can. The info session on the regional STEM centers. So that would be right here, and you'll notice we already posted the recording yesterday or from Tuesday for the teacher panel, as well as the welcome presentation. So I'll paste the URL to our Mila note in the chat. So you do want to make sure that you save that link. That's that tiny URL that's available. So bookmark that. That's where we're going to put recordings of all of these and all of these resources that are being shared in the chat right now.
And I think, I thought I saw, yeah, Charlie Barnes. Yes, exactly. The Todd Wackerman down in the New Orleans area has the STEM library lab where you can check out information. And he also has an opportunity zone such as that's similar to the Capital Area STEM Network. So you should be able to look up that. Each area is trying to get on board, but typically there's only 2 or 3 of us per center. And so we're juggling a lot trying to get those things out. Speaking of science, yes.
Summer, can you talk a little bit about the work that you're doing for the apprenticeships and extra internships, which is a regional effort, but that's something that might branch out to other regions in the state?
Yes. Okay. So we are piloting internships and apprenticeships with East Baton Rouge Parish, a couple of the surrounding parishes. We're talking with a couple of the superintendents there, and the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. And essentially what we're trying to do is, I think if you've been in high school, you know that they do have an internship type program through the Department of Ed. And essentially students have to have 155 hours. They have to have a mentor on campus. They have to have a work permit. They can be paid, or typically we like them to be paid. And then it's an all or nothing grade. It's either you've completed everything and you have an A, or you fail if you don't show up. And so kind of what we've been talking about is looking at something that we started with CTEC, with the Career and Tech Education Center. And basically what we did there is that we ensured that the kids that earn their level 1 certification, if you know something about the Jump Start with the different programs they have basic certifications and then advanced certifications. And so what we did at CTEC is we worked with business and industry, that if a young person had earned their basic certification, that we would find them an internship or an apprenticeship during the summer months. And so that was the initial pilot with about 30 kids. And now we're trying to grow this to about 200 for our whole region. And the students would either, if they have not earned their basic certification, they could be working in an industry. They'll have the written portion through school, and then the hands-on portion would be through that industry. Or if they've earned their basic certification, then they could move on to the next level with that industry. One of the exciting things that we did, and we still haven't heard, is that we all partnered with a grant for the Department of Labor on doing computer science certifications and apprenticeships. So if a young person graduates from high school and they don't have a certification, they can go through a boot camp. It would be the fundamentals, or real foundational, for computer science with the Kane Center, and then they would be able to interview for the full-on apprenticeship through Apprenti, which is also a national organization. So, and they have locations currently that they're hiring for apprenticeships in New Orleans and Lafayette. So if you know a young person that's graduated, doesn't have a certification, would be interested in jumping into the IT field, and this could be anybody over 18, let me know, email me, And I can connect you with the next group that's going to be interviewing and training. But we're really excited about trying to develop and pilot that out for our region with the internships and the apprenticeships. Over 18. Yes, they have to be over 18. Well, they have to be 18. So, and available to do a boot camp. Now, boot camps are typically anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, and they're all day long. The grant that I wrote would provide funding to the students themselves. So a lot of these programs, companies will pay for the training, but they're not paying for living expenses. So if you take a month off and not working, and you're going full time taking a training class, and you have nothing to pay your bills. And so the Department of Labor grant would help cover the participant costs for that. So knocking on wood, praying, keeping fingers crossed to see if we can't get the funding to help with that. So if not, we're going to figure out some other way to help pilot this and help these young people get into these high paying jobs for our area.
All right, I want to open the floor up for questions for Summer. This can be related to internships. It can be related to the activities. It can be related to anything related to STEM, and we'll try to answer them the best that we can, keeping in mind that Summer is the director for 1 out of 9 regions. So we may not have the answers, but like I said, if you ask the question here, we can track down an answer for you and share that back out with everybody. So open the floor for questions about how a regional STEM center can serve you or answer questions. I see a hand raised from Charlie. So you can either raise a hand and ask a question or drop it in the chat, either way. So Charlie, if you want to come off mute.
Whoops. I didn't understand. Charlie Barnes, NOLA Code. So I was excited to hear about your initiative to lend out equipment to schools that and to computer science and STEM educators that are in need. Terribly interesting. I'm glad you have already spoken to Mr. Todd Wackerman over at STEM Library Lab, who sits on the board for the Region 1 STEM Center. I was wondering if I could also put you in contact with Mr. Brian McDonald over at the UNO College Library, the OK Long Library. What we did at NOLA Code is we took a classroom set of 18 Arduino kits modeled on the SparkFun Adventures kit and bequeathed them to the Earl K. Long College Library so that my own team at NOLA Code and any computer science teacher in the New Orleans region who wanted to could check them out, borrow them, teach a unit in physical computing, and then return them to the library. I was hoping one day we could scale that up so that when physical computing is a requirement, any Louisiana STEM or computer science educator who wanted to could similarly check out classroom sets of these kits at a time, teach a unit, and then return them. I was wondering if we could scale that up to all the other college universities in the UL system too, so that we could all do the same thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I actually have the head of the library system for East Baton Rouge Parish on my board. Mm-hmm. But that's a great idea to have it through the universities. You said it was Brian McDonald? Brian McDonald.
I'll introduce you in an email to him today.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I'd like to see how they work that out.
Oh yeah, it's just a classroom set of 18 modeled on the SparkFun Adventures kit, but we all have to start somewhere. So, all right.
Did you say it was Adventures of what?
SparkFun Inventors kit.
Okay.
Summer, I think so the Regional STEM Center has about 25 Arduino kits. I don't know that they're the Spark.
I knew we had some, but
I don't know that they're exactly that one, but there's some sort of starter kits. And so, yeah, so I think one thing to point out is that the Regional STEM Centers have only been in existence for about a year, maybe a little over a year and a half. And so a lot of these things are just getting off the ground. So when you ask like, well, is there a list of all the equipment to check out, or where can I do this? Where can I do that? A lot of people are just kind of getting those things in process. We're ordering the stuff and we're trying to set those up. So I think that's something I know Calcasieu's doing it. We're doing it. North Shore's doing it. You know, New Orleans is doing it. So a lot of these centers recognize that need. So working towards it. All right, Sandra Hayes, I see a hand raised.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, how are y'all doing today?
Hey.
When you were talking about the apprenticeship for over 18s, I'm a mother, and I'm sure that other parents and educators have thought about this prior to me, but my sons, their senior year, because they've done so many classes, they only go to school part of the day.
Yes,
And
yes.
they go, all of my sons have worked, they work in restaurants or mow yards or whatever, but if I would like to find something where they're still working, but almost like an internship for 17 or 18-year-olds, where they can go perhaps in the STEM field. With,
So
I don't like them rattling around all day like that.
Right. But there are a lot of companies. Where are you located?
I'm in Lake Charles.
You're in Lake Charles. Okay. So I know around this, I'm gonna speak about this region. So, and that's what we did at CTech. So we had young people that earned their certification. So they earned a certification. It could be in CompTIA, it could be in Python, it could be in any of the computer science ones. We also had carpentry, electrical, some construction, manufacturing. And a lot of companies will hire, okay, let me clarify. A lot of IT companies will hire young people, 17 years old. They're not so concerned about a young person getting hurt on the job. So the 18 and over is for apprentice. That's just specifically for the apprenticeship program that they have. And they're very specific, but there are companies, if your sons have skills and they have a certification that proves that they have those skills, they will hire them at 17. In fact, we had an IT company hire a young person at 16 because he just really had some really good programming skills. He could get in there and do that. Okay, and so we had it was a memorandum of understanding from the district to the companies as well, that they would hire them and have them for so many hours. I don't know what's happening over there. I mean, I can find out from Mark if they have that. He would be over that area. I'm sure that there are companies over there that will hire. Yeah. They're really worried about large, heavy equipment in construction and manufacturing, and they don't want to put a young person out there that would be fooling off and, fooling around and goofing off and hurting themselves or somebody else. That's really where that comes from. But
like last night we had homework where we were doing circuits on with our homework last night, and my son came in and said, "What are you doing?" and came and took it and showed me how to do it and explained it to me very well. I'm not really sure where he picked that up. I said, "Did you do this in school?" He said, "No, I just know." Not, but he's techie, he's mechanical, and I would like to find a way to help him next year develop that and work with that from YouTube.
Well, basically, yeah, he learned it from YouTube. Because this wasn't around when my kids were going through, I found certification programs and paid out of pocket for them to take those certifications. And both of them worked through college with their certifications. So one of them, he had all of his stuff in networking and cloud computing from CompTIA. And then my daughter had GIS, which is for ecology, sort of the sciencey, environmental studies is what she was doing. So I could afford to do that. I know a lot of people can't, and a lot of young people in our public school system certainly cannot afford some of these certifications. They're very expensive, but the school systems have funding through their CDF funding to help cover those. So if you have, in fact, your CTE directors in your parishes should be able to direct you to where they can get those certifications and get those paid for. They should be able to do that.
Okay, even if I had to pay for it, that's not a problem. It's just,
well, some of them can be pricey. I was like, well, you're going to be working and paying me back for part of that, because I was like, ooh.
All right, are there other questions related to
Something for kids early, how to keep them current? My son, for example, got Operation Spark Advanced in the 10th grade. Now what does he do? He needs something to maintain currency. Okay, so Operation Spark, I know a little bit about that. That was all with JavaScript. And that is a good foundational program. Juana and Fernando could probably talk about how that's probably not the most advanced certification, there are a lot of certifications that can be built onto that. So if you go to, actually, probably Vanessa, what I'll do is like kind of send a link to some of the certifications available that it might be the
sounds great.
easiest for them to look at. And yeah, you can put them, yeah, they can go to work.
I can
Put 'em to
speak to
work.
Operation Spark one if you want, just a little bit. It's
Yeah.
it's a very different model than most of the certifications because it's there's classwork that you do, and then there's you get embedded in teams, and then you're working on projects, and it's and then it extends beyond your senior year. So for them to get those industry-based credentials, there's sort of a basic one, but then after that, it takes a lot of effort to get to, but it's also really intensive, and it's quite a remarkable program. So anyway, it's set up a lot different than your normal learn the material, take the test, and be done and get your IBC. It's not like that at all. Yeah.
But in general, there are not many certifications in programming. There are, I mean, Operation Spark is one of the few.
So that's all something that Summer is working on. We're all working towards. I know there were a couple of comments in the chat about computer science policy. And, you know, one of the challenges is that, you know, everyone's like, we want to do STEM, and they pour money into it. And there's very little guidance, very little policy. So now we're kind of in the wild, wild west of STEM and certifications, and we're trying to get it back together. So do know that Summer, along with the other regional STEM centers, along with other organizations like the Kane Center, are working to try to create some policy that addresses these needs. So we're you know, at the beginning stages of those things, unfortunately, because, you know, it seems like there's a lot of computer science and a lot of STEM opportunities out there, but it's kind of discombobulated, and everyone's kind of doing their own little thing. So that's one of the goals of the regional STEM centers, is to try to really bring together all of the different good things that are happening in the region and serve as like a central point of communication, so that we can start to get those programs out to all of the rural areas and the places that maybe don't have as much stuff as the big cities have, but try to create that synergy and that open line of communication so that everyone has access to the same resources and knows what resources are available. So we understand that it's a need, and that's why Summer's here, and that's why the regional STEM centers exist. Okay, are there other questions for Summer or from any of the other pathway leaders? Juana, Stephen, Fernando, Nicole, whoever I missed. I only called out 4 names there. I missed somebody. So if anyone has any additional thoughts to share on the regional STEM centers.
I have one question. You did
Sure.
say we can use any office, correct? Or do we have to use our regional office?
It's probably easier for you to use your local because they're going to have supplies and things that you can check out. But I mean, what are you looking for? That's just the best.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I'm about an hour and 40 minutes from LSU, but I'm further away from my regional office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so it's kind of strange. So Livingston, they kind of come over to to my area too, if their schools are closer. So yeah, if it's closer to be, you know, facilitating with me, that's fine. But technically you're going to fall under the other region.
Yeah, I mean, the goal would be that all the regions work together.
Yeah, we're all working together. We just kind of share stuff back and forth. But yeah, we're recognizing that. In fact, the central area is hosting a camp. And so some of my parishes that are in the north, you know, the schools that are close on the northern are going to her program. So yeah.
Other questions?
We'll share you.
Other questions? All right, well, it'll probably take us about 24 hours to kind of comb through the questions that were put in the chat and to review the recording to make sure we document everything so that we can share those out maybe in a you know, more concise format. But we will be sharing this recording as well as a resource document with all of the links that were in the chat and probably some more links that we didn't get a chance to throw in the chat, but that will serve as a resource document for you guys. If you have an afternoon session, those sessions are going to start at 1 o'clock. If you don't have an afternoon session, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We'll stay on the call for a few more minutes to answer any questions that you might have.